Hey guys, I'm back. Video 41 of 365. Oh my gosh, it was so loud last night, all the fireworks. It was amazing. I love the sounds of the booms, and it was just beautiful around here. Amazing. Hope you guys had a great 4th. I love holidays, they're so fun. My name is Samantha. I'm a therapist, and I love talking about self-concept and self-love and the law of assumption and all those great things. And I'm here to help you master yourself. That's my main goal. So today I had, by the way, I'm doing a video for a year, video every day for a full year. It's quite the experience. I recommend it to anybody to become more confident and really find your voice. I found that it really has helped me find my voice, but I can't even imagine what's going to happen in the next 11 months because it's only been, five weeks. Maybe 5 weeks. This is video 41. So yeah, about a month and 10 days in. Definitely has changed my life already. So I'm already at 240 subscribers. So I'm about a fourth of the way there almost to the 1,000 subscribers. So if you know anybody that would benefit from learning from a therapist or learning about law of assumption or about self-concept or anything that can transform your life, I'm your girl. I'm into all of that stuff. I love talking about all of those things from all different angles, but I try to keep it very simple. So every question I get kind of comes back to the same answer. So even the heavy ones. And tonight we have a heavy one for you. So I thought I would read this question that I got from a commenter, a subscriber. So thank you so much, as usual, for providing great, ideas for me to create content from. I was going to bring this up at some point anyway. So this is great. And I just want to read it and then read my response. And then I'll kind of give a little synopsis after that about some other things that I did not include kind of on purpose in the response. So I'm going to read the question and then I'm going to read my response really quick. Let's see. So they said, "Hi, Samantha, I have a new topic you have not really discussed yet. Maybe you have some insight. You and I are both victims of abuse. I'm not sure about you, but I was never able to get retribution, and the person today doesn't accept any blame. Not sure if that's your case, but how do we get over this? In my case, it's emotional abuse from my father, which led to me having severe anxiety issues, but to this day, he will not take any responsibility. I know he knows what he's done, but he won't admit it or apologize. I feel punishment should be served. I need him to feel that guilt, but he will not accept it. So I guess I'm asking, how do we move on without retribution?" Oh my God, what a great question. Ooh, how many of you want people to suffer? Suffer like you have suffered and suffer like you're still suffering because you want them to suffer. That doesn't feel good, does it? Everybody's suffering, it feels like, with that. So this is what I said back. I said, "Thank you for sharing this. I really get it. I'm sorry you've had to go through this. When someone hurts you and never owns it, it messes with your mind, especially when they know what they did and still act like nothing happened. It's like you're left holding all the weight and they move on like it didn't happen. I know the feeling of wanting them to feel guilt, of wanting something, whether an apology, an acknowledgement, anything to make it feel fair. For me, I had to eventually let go of the idea that justice was ever going to come in the form I wanted. I realized I was keeping myself stuck by assuming their accountability was required for my peace. That's when I started to shift. I don't mean forget it or pretend it didn't matter, because it did, but I started choosing a new assumption, that my healing does not depend on their apology, that I don't need them to carry the weight anymore because I'm finally putting it down myself for myself. You don't owe them your continued suffering. You're allowed to move forward without their permission. This doesn't mean what happened was okay, but it means you're done letting it have power and control over you, just the same as when we were kids. You have all the power now to decide what identity to live and love from. Love cannot be felt where there is resentment. That is what got me the most. I wanted and choose now to live in love rather than in resentment." I will be reading this in tonight's video. Thank you for this topic. This could be a whole series on its own. Please keep them coming as you think of things. I appreciate you. So that's a loaded question with a loaded answer. There are like thousands of things that could be said about both of these, both the question and the answer. Something I wanted to add to this. Let's see. Let me go back actually for a minute, because that was a lot. So I'd love to know in the comments too. I don't know how many people will see this video. One of my videos blew up to like 500 views. That was weird. I have no idea how that happened because most of them, get, oh my gosh, under 100 for sure after a few weeks. But that one blew up to like 500. And so if this one happens to blow up and many people see this, or if just one person sees this, feel free to comment below. If you've been through abuse, if you'd like to share, I'd like to know just where you're at in your healing and what you might need help with. I'll definitely be asking in the community tab what your pain points are, because I have a bunch of videos to make over the next year. I mean, I've got a lot more to do, like 324 or something like that. And I was thinking about that today. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to come up with 300 more ideas. But really, I mean, it's going to be so easy, I think, especially with people commenting and bringing up certain subjects. So, and I've said before, there's the clinical me and then there's the spiritual me. So, I don't like to go too clinical or too spiritual. I like to combine kind of both, and so, and that's me. I'm not your typical therapist. I'm not putting therapists down at all. They're great, obviously, but I'm not the typical one because I like to think differently. And so in my sessions, yeah, I'm pretty fairly typical because you just kind of have to be with ethics. There's rules and regulations. But if I were to do a workshop, it'd be completely different. And I'd include some psychotherapy, underpinnings, but I'm more into the mystical a little bit and just thinking differently about things, asking yourself questions maybe you've never asked before. So definitely want to know if you all feel the same about, needing someone to take responsibility. Because I did not get retribution for either one of my my abusers at all. Nothing. I mean, nothing. No apology, of course. No, nothing. Police involved. Nothing. Nothing happened. Yeah. There's. It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard whenever they don't go to jail or get in trouble really for it. So when I started thinking about who do I want to be, how do I want to feel, how do I want to live my life? Do I want to live my life in resentment or in love? And I really had to dig deep inside myself. I've had many people around me that have shown me the opposite of love many times over the years. And I loved anyway. I don't care what somebody else does. That doesn't mean I'm going to eat dinner with them and have a relationship with them. But if I let go of resentment, which forgiveness actually means to let go of resentment. That's what forgiveness means. And a lot of people can't forgive. And that's like really hard for people because it means like if I forgive you, then that means you're off the hook. And that's just not the case. It means letting go of resentment that you're holding on to, expecting them to like, oh my gosh, they're in trouble now because I'm keeping them in this bubble of like resentment. Yeah, they're gonna feel that. They're really not. They probably didn't feel much because they did that to you. So they're not gonna feel or care about much of anything most of the time. And that's on them. And when I started making them none of my business, I literally will say about everyone, what they think of me or anything else is none of my business. The only business that I have is how do I feel in this moment? That's it. I made it very simple. I brought it back to myself. I let everything else go because if I thought about other things, it made me angry or upset or resentful. I cried for years off and on. There is no point in all that. I really wasted a lot of energy on somebody that took away my power already. Why would I continue to let them take my power today? So you have to think about that because it's not doing you any good and it's not giving you the justice that you're seeking. Sometimes I think the justice we're seeking is just like, we want somebody to pay. But in my mind, if they are a person that can do something like they've done to us, they're already paying in some way. Like they're already living a miserable life if that's how they are. They're having a problem, and I don't want to have that problem. I don't want to be anything like them. because they feel powerless. Anybody that abuses somebody else, whether it's an animal or a person, they feel powerless. They're abusing to feel powerful. So they have something going on where they feel highly insecure. Then you've got your, we'll go off on the weeds, but then you got your serial killers. So that's a whole other subject. But there's a lot of research on that too. But I will not go off into the weeds tonight. We will not do that. But so how do we get over this? It's like, how do we get over this? We decide to. You just decide to get over it. You say, I deserve to get over this. I deserve to let this go. The more you say these things to yourself, the more you'll be able to let it go. It's just like, and then you have to ask yourself, how old am I? How many years have I been holding on to this? How long am I going to let this continuously cause me disease? And dis-ease equals disease. It's like a disease in your body and your brain and your heart and everywhere, because you're actually suffering just like you were as a kid. And so, and I think when we suffer abuse, that is when we have to really double down on our self-concept. So let me see. And severe anxiety issues from emotional abuse. Yes, that, and I think that, I don't know your story, of course, your whole story, but abuse of any kind is very destabilizing, because it makes you feel like you're crazy, or that you deserve it. Or so what I go back to, I took some other notes too. So you have to go back to your core beliefs. So what did you make his abuse mean about you as a person? What are you making that abuse mean about you? What meaning did you have attached to it? And then what is that experience? What did that teach you? Looking at yourself back then, what did that teach you? What skills did you develop from it? I go to the positive side. I'm like, what skills did I develop? Well, I learned how to survive. I learned how to, get through some really tough things that helped me tolerate other tough things as I got older, and helped me be able to become successful in certain areas. It kind of made me unsuccessful, I guess, in other areas, but it turned me into the person that I am today. And so it's like looking at the experience, seeing what it taught you back then and what it's teaching you now. There's some sort of wisdom that you're needing to gain right now from that experience. There's something there. So just be really curious about it. What is this? And it could just be, what belief do I need to let go about myself? Maybe we feel weak, powerless, out of control, confused, especially when it's a parent. Mine was a parent as well. So it's highly confusing, because the person that's supposed to love you is abusing you. Not just like not loving you, they're actually like abusing you. And so it's very destabilizing, very confusing, very scary as well. So that can cause anxiety, because if we don't feel safe in our home with a caregiver, how the heck are we going to feel safe in the world? It's very, very, destabilizing. It just is. It's chaotic. It's very chaotic. So if you grew up in a chaotic household, that's what I want to impress upon you, is that like you need to create a life where there's no chaos, which means, like I said in last night's video about your little fortress of peace that you're creating, do not let those thoughts even come into those golden gates protecting your little sanctuary. You have to be very, very choosy about what you allow. You have to set a new standard for yourself, the way that you think. Set a new standard. I'm not even going to entertain the fact that even happened to me anymore. I'm not even going to entertain it. It doesn't belong in my moment of peace that I have right now in this now. And I know that sounds very too good to be true that we could do that, or that's not enough. That's not enough for me. I need more than that. I thought that too. And then I just started reading and learning about self-love and love in general and energy and the different frequencies of each emotion that we have. We have a frequency. Every time we feel an emotion, we have an electromagnetic charge around our body. And it literally affects, things around us. And so it turns on different genes in our bodies, turns off different genes. It creates dis-ease in the body, which then leads to disease. So if we have health issues, we got to really look at our psychological things going on. the meanings we're attaching to things about ourselves. That's the main thing. And when I learned it was all about self, and because like if it's all about self, you have all the control in the world. When you make it about everything external from you, about why they did this, why they're not, getting in trouble for this, why that, it drives you insane. And it's like you have a backpack on your back or on your shoulder, you're carrying it, and you've got those experiences weighing you down. And you can't live, in my opinion, you cannot live the most joyous, passionate, exciting life carrying that crap in the backpack. Yes, it happened to us. I wish I had parents that loved me enough to not do that to me. I wish I would have had that. I wish I had a dad today. I wish I did so much. Wish I had a better family. And I bet a lot of people wish that. And I had to go deep within myself. I cried off and on for years after my divorce. Just crying because I had trauma after trauma, packed on top of each other. And that's why I tell you that you have to let it all just kind of go at some point. You really do. For you, not for the other person. It's for you, because the other person isn't going to feel anything. But when I made it none of my business or none of my concern, everything got better. Everything. Because I have me. I don't need anything external right now to feel better. I thought, I've got to, in order to feel better, I need this person to apologize. They need to apologize. They need to apologize for what they did. And, that resentful energy it felt good in the moment. But after being like that for years on end, that does not feel good anymore. And I decided I don't want to be that person. That's really what shifted me. I don't want to be that identity of that person that holds on to resentment. And then I'm being just as bad as they are. I'm destabilized too at that point, just like they are. I'm feeling insecure just like they are. I want to feel secure always. I want to feel powerful. And when I'm needing somebody to do something for me to feel better, I have no power. That's when I decided to just feel better. Decide to feel better. Then you have all your power back. It's like it kind of just transmutes the energy once you make it mean something else. And once you decide that you want to live off that identity now, live from that identity now. It's just amazing how much it helps. Now, if I were in a therapy session with someone, we would process the event and and then eventually maybe I'd get to this little part about, we choose and but when you're in a therapy session, you can't do that. So, if people are needing to process, you need to please contact a therapist, of course, because I'm not doing therapy here. I'm doing more of the mystical and the more energy work. This is what I truly enjoy, that I truly feel like really helps heal people. Therapy has its place for sure. But a lot of the stuff that I know and that I'm going to be teaching you guys that's really helped me and helped other people that I know, just passing along the information, and you pull the gems out of it for whatever you resonate with. You take that and you can do your own research. Your own research may mean searching, through books or courses or whatever you want to do, or simply just trying things that I say to try. And then see, collect your own data, become your own evidence, and see what works for you. Just practice that. Like, what would happen if I just decided to let some of these thoughts go? Like, what space would that create for me to bring new thoughts in? That might feel really good. I started thinking like that. What if I could do that? Because my brain was not wanting to go there. It was like, oh, hell no, this person needs to pay. Who are they going to pay to? They say, I'm sorry. Well, that doesn't take anything back. It means nothing. It really means nothing. Even if, we look for acknowledgement, I think, because we want to connect with that person. And that person might not be, here's something too, that person might not actually be somebody that we even like or even want to be around. I had to accept that too. I let go of family members and I was like, I really don't even like this person. But in my heart, though, I wish I had a closer family. Yes, I wish I did. And I've had pieces of that before. But it hurts, of course, when you don't have the parent that you want to treat you the way that you feel you should be treated and the way that you deserve to be treated. And so another reason to let go of these feelings is to know that you deserve to be treated better. And so the only person that can treat you better is you. And that means letting go of these thoughts because it'll just feel better. So, but you have to get to a place where you decide to do that. You have to get to a place where you've processed maybe some of those feelings a little more in depth. But one way to process is to think of what core beliefs you have about this situation and what you're making that mean about you. And then you dig into that. It's a self-worth thing, I'm sure. Self-worth, insecurities, anxiety comes from, not knowing, not like kind of looking into the future instead of being in your now. If we're feeling anxiety, that means we're not probably present. So get to the present moment. Literally put a hand on your heart and say, I am safe. Any kind of affirmation you want to say. Any truth that you want to say to yourself. I am safe. I like the I am safe a lot. You're okay. You're okay. Everything's fine. You're safe in this moment. That's all that matters. And your body feels yourself touching your heart. It kind of connects the affirmation with something physical, something somatic where your body can feel it, and do some breathing with it. And then now you're present. Now you're grounded. Now you can think differently, think more clearly. So that's a grounding technique that anybody could do. But what else is there? I think that when you always bring everything back to yourself, everything kind of falls into place. That's what I've seen. And it just has to be done over and over and over and over again. Then we go to the magical side a little bit here. It's not magic. It's just imagination. But also, every time you're thinking about the past, you're imagining that. You're imagining basically recreating that feeling over and over and over again inside of you. It's creating a loop. Like, this person needs to pay. They're not paying. I feel bad. This person needs to pay. I need them to pay. I feel bad because they're not paying. It's like this whole loop. So you got to get out of that loop because your brain is used to that. You got to tell it what to think. Go over here instead. And then you're going to start thinking differently. Start a new loop. Start a positive loop. I deserve to feel better. Therefore, I'm going to start thinking a different thought. Therefore, I'm going to start feeling better. That feels much better than I used to feel. And then you just kind of talk to yourself like that. It really is and can be that simple, that quick. We just don't think that it can, and we don't believe that it can because that seems too simple. It just seems too simple. But getting to those negative core beliefs about yourself, like I am unworthy, I'm not good enough. I am not good enough is probably the biggest limiting belief I've ever heard. I took a training with for EMDR therapy, which basically helps cure PTSD. It's really great, a really great technique to use. And I use it with clients sometimes and I love it. I've had it done on me and I've done it on other people and it works for all of us. I mean, it's just amazing. But I was in a training for that. And we had a full room of therapists and everybody in the room, just about, their negative core belief was, I am not good enough. And I was like, wow, this is a room full of therapists like that should know, all the resources that are out there and all of these things. But we had that one belief. And so I encourage you to check yourself for what did I make this abuse and this lack of acknowledgement for an apology? What did I make that mean about myself? And if you stick to yourself, because there's no one to change but self. When you change yourself and you start seeing the world differently, the world will change. And other people will change too, or they will go away completely out of your life. It's really interesting. I've had this happen for years. It's so neat how it happens. But you have to try it. You have to try it in order to believe it. Sometimes you can't just believe it. Some people can't. They're like, I have to know more. I got to do this. And it's like, just hear my simple words that you got to figure out what you're making it mean about you and why do you need this apology and why do you need this acknowledgement? For what? What would it do for you? Really get to know yourself because that's in your backpack. Like that's holding you down a lot. And I know a lot of you out there are feeling this too. This is not just this commenter. It's a beautiful commenter. And so, and also a trick you can try is revision. If you haven't heard of Neville Goddard's technique called revision, this is kind of fun. So before you go to sleep, you can go back in your mind to an event that happened when someone was abusive to you and they said a mean thing to you. Act like they said the opposite. Act like they said exactly what you wanted them to say to you. Say you were 6 years old and they told you something mean. Pretend like you're that little 6-year-old again. You have to imagine from being that little boy. So you pretend like you're this little boy or this little girl, and you can see through your eyes. Pretend like you're there. Don't just see this on a screen. You want to see it from being that little child, and have your parent or whoever was mean to you say exactly what you wished they would have said to you instead of that particular thing. And just go back to a memory that you don't like and revise that. And just kind of think about that right before you're falling asleep. Try that tonight. See what happens. Do that for a little while, a few nights in a row. The goal is to transmute this energy that is not working for you. Now, the imagination will take hold, in your subconscious mind, and it'll push out into your reality. And so you may see some new things happening. You never know. But I want you to just try it. Just see if it works for you in any sort of way. See what feelings you come up with. When we're holding on to things for decades of time, it's going to take a little bit of a shift to shift over there to feeling better. So it just takes some practice and just belief that you can feel better. It's amazing. You just have to decide. It's like they say about addiction, it's like at some point you have to hit the rock bottom and then you decide. And it's like we're addicted to thinking this way. We have to acknowledge, I'm an addict. I'm an addict and I've got to do something different here. I need rehab. And your rehab might be going in your imagination and revising, going through your mind every day. And instead of thinking about the past, we start thinking about, well, what do I want now? I'm not going to look over here at this past self. I'm going to go over here to this new self. What do I want to think? I've got to tell my brain what I want it to think instead of this crappy past, because you deserve to feel better in the now. And let's see. Oh yeah. And remember, the law of whatever works for you is what we're calling it. We are not calling it the law of assumption. We are not calling it the law of attraction. We're going to call it the law of whatever works for you, because whatever works for you is what works. That's it. It's really